Hey guys, it's Tiffany Sly again, visionary sales and marketing maven and personal brand guru, coming at you with our third video all about my 5 secrets to mastering your marketing as the everyday entrepreneur. Today we're going to talk about the ever so daunting content creation process. So now that you've started to really dive deep into your business brand, you've discovered exactly what your point of difference is, and you're owning your awesomeness, you know exactly what you stand for and why you're different, and you're able to create all the visual branding that reflects that in the heart of your business. Now it's time to get your message out there and market your business and position you as the expert in your market. When we think of content creation, we think, oh my gosh, so much pressure. How can I come up with all this content? I feel like I need to be inspired. What's really Instagram worthy? I don't have the time. Gosh, that just seems so complicated and time consuming. Well, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be all of those things. I have developed a real foolproof way to make it super simple to create content ongoing, automate it, and make it super easy and really not take a lot of your time. When we think of content creation, most of us believe that it's mostly just copy. So writing content and coming up with all sorts of long form written content, but it's not just that. It's actually any visual elements that we create as well as video. So there are 3 kind of aspects to content creation. It's the written content, the graphic content, and the video content. Also, there can be a 4th. There could be an audio content. If that's something that you really love to do or want to try, is getting into podcasting. So that can be a really great 4th element to your content creation as well. It starts with, what do you actually want to put out there to your market, and how do you want to go about doing it based on what you enjoy doing and what you're good at? So for instance, if you love writing, like for me, I love putting out blogs when I was in real estate. I love to create content that's more educational and adds value. So I really enjoyed writing and being inspired by topics that I could write about. Maybe you enjoy writing as well, and you can create a blog that comes through your website, and you can actually utilize that as well on your social media platforms. Maybe you're someone who really loves being on camera and you don't really like sitting in front of the computer and typing, but you'd prefer to just speak and talk to the camera and just be more authentic that way. Then video is great for you. So there's a way that you can incorporate video into your marketing strategy. There's another aspect to this, which is the visual creation of content. And let's say you really are so creative and you love working with, let's say, Photoshop or InDesign, or for the rest of us that are more amateur, Canva can be amazing. Maybe you're really into creating pieces like that. So really follow what you enjoy doing and have that be the path that you take in terms of creating content. And don't forget, you always want to keep in mind your ideal client when you're creating this content. So, when you're trying to figure out which way to go about creating your content, remember exactly who you're actually targeting and who you want to speak to. Another thing to think about before you're creating your content, not only is it super important to think about the target market that you're actually wanting to reach, but also what platforms that target market is going to be on. So if it's more kind of a formal and traditional type of industry that you're in, you might want to stick to written copy and blogs and articles, and that would mean that most of your customers might be on LinkedIn, let's say. So you want to look at the demographics and see who exactly you're wanting to speak to and who you're wanting to expose your content to, and direct it to those places. So if you're a bit more fun and more playful, and it's a bit more of a laid back type of business, and your personality is that, you might want to go into the video creation. You might want to be on more Instagram and Facebook and more kind of more connection and more personal and more laid back platforms. But if you're maybe wanting it to be a bit more educational and adding a value, you might want to think about doing more long form content creation, like let's say, putting out lists and tips and how-to guides and articles. Perhaps you want to do videos where you do video training and ongoing value in that way to educate your customers and build your credibility in that way. So let's talk about creating written content. I'm going to give you one of my tips because this is something that I've been doing for many, many years, and I'm going to share it with you. It's really the most simple way to create written content. When I was in real estate, and even now, I created blogs on a pretty regular basis. I really felt it important to write out my thoughts and my inspired articles that I came up with, and that was the greatest tool that I found for creating a huge bank of content that I could work with on a weekly basis and monthly basis. And what I did from that piece is I would chop it up into 5 or 6 posts or shorter pieces that I could blast out to my social media platforms and my email marketing. So that's really a technique that I think a lot of people use and might work for you, is go really big and sift down, filter down, and chop and repurpose that content into other platforms. Once I did those little shorter posts, obviously there's a theme. Sometimes I would focus on maybe a week. Each week would be a certain theme of inspired content. So I would have each post be under that theme. And obviously when they're put together, that's one full long form, but separated, that would make, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 posts along the same theme or topic. But what I would do at that point was then I would create the visuals to each of those pieces. So let's say you're really into doing video and that's where you want to spend your time and how you want to create your content. That's fantastic. Do it. Do whatever you really enjoy. So what I would recommend doing is also, when you have your video content and your videos created, you put them through a website like rev.com or capwing.com and you transcribe them. Also, you can caption them. You can add subtitles through those websites as well. But the great way to create, from video to create written content from it and repurpose that video content that you're coming up with that's so amazing, you want to transcribe it into actual written copy. And then when you get that transcription, you can actually chop it up into different pieces and create 4 or 5 or 6 different posts about that topic. Another really great little tip for creating content that's easy and doesn't feel like it's a lot of pressure to come up with is either through video or through your written blog or writing that you enjoy doing. Maybe instead of having long form, create just 5 tips or 6 reasons why X. Here are my 7 reasons why you should buy a house this year. Coming up with little tips and lists like that and point form makes it really easy for the viewers to read your content and take it in, but also makes it super, super easy for you to chop it up and separate it into 1 point per day in each of your pieces that you're going to put out on your social platforms or in your email marketing. You can separate it into each point. So that's a super easy way to do it too. So I'm going to share one of my other secrets with you right now, and that is, if you can, spend 1 day a week, maybe half a day a week, coming up with content. So we always say when we have our own business, you should be working on your business at least 1 portion of the week for sure, maybe 2. Make sure you spend the time working on the business. So that includes creating content, and all of these pieces are going to give you exposure and build your credibility, and it's going to give you another reason to get in front of people, right? So it should be as important as your other business, lead generating activities. So if you're spending, Fridays, maybe Friday afternoons, sitting down and really being inspired and brainstorming, just writing out topics that you want to discuss, topics that you really are passionate about. Think about, again, who your target market is. What are their pain points? What do they need? What are their problems? And how can you provide solutions for them? Those are easy to come up with. If you're thinking about someone who's in real estate, for instance, you're showing properties, and I'm sure that you can come up with many, many top 5 lists of what to look for when looking at your first home to buy. Even throughout dealing with your clients, I'm sure that when you're showing properties, there are all sorts of recurring questions that come up. So create that into a post. Have that as inspiration when you're writing an article or a blog topic. So the point of this is to make sure that you're not feeling the pressure throughout the week, that you're not on your phone creating things as they come, feeling like you're taking time out of your day, or you're doing it while you're driving, or you're feeling like you're pressured and you procrastinate about it, because that's the problem. When we're procrastinating, we're not going to come up with inspired content. So my whole strategy is really to come up with inspired topics and content throughout the week in your head, maybe make lists. And on Fridays, let's say, you sit down and actually flesh them out and type out all of your thoughts and brainstorm your ideas. So we've talked about the written form of content creation and the video. So of course, video is kind of similar to the podcasting. If you do any audio, then you can easily transcribe it into copy in Word form to create other posts. But also, we need to talk about the graphic elements now. So I love Canva so much. Canva is just really the amateur graphic designer's dream. So some of you might be into the Adobe InDesign programs or Photoshop, and that's fantastic. You can create really simple graphics that you can use within and team up with your content that you create. There are two sides to more the visual content creation. So there's photography, and then there's actual graphic elements. So I'm going to give you another tip on how to go about this in the easiest way possible. So I would recommend coming up with pillars of your content. So think about maybe 5 or 6 topics that you really feel might be themes of your content ongoing. Say one is educational. So you want to always be putting out information that's going to add value to your customer. So second might be news and updates. So let's say if you're in the finance industry, you have rate changes and increases in the bank rate, mortgage rates go up. There's information that is kind of newsworthy and updates that are quick information. You want to have that as maybe your topics. The next topic could be and should be you personally. So there should always be a personal one in there. What am I doing? How do I do it? What's my story? Why do I do what I do? That should be a topic, for sure, a pillar within your list. Another one should be testimonials or feedback from customers. So that's building your credibility. It's not educational, but it's just sharing the experience that your customers have had with your audience, because that helps build your credibility with them. Another pillar that could be great to include would be quotes and inspirational information. So what we're doing with these pillars is we are creating kind of an overarching brand strategy for our content. And the point of this is the pillars should be topics that you really enjoy and you want to put out there, that you rotate through in terms of like when you post them or when you put them out there on your marketing. You should rotate through the pillars throughout the week. So every day is not only just a message about selling your business or buy with us or this is why I'm great. It should be a good variety of information that you share, and it's a brand building exercise for your viewers. So along with these pillars, I would recommend creating templates for graphics to accompany this content. So let's talk about the visual graphics that you're going to accompany this content. The best site that I found, I'm sure everyone agrees, is Canva. One of the cool parts about Canva is that you can upload your fonts right into the program, and you can create your brand colors and save them as your default colors. So as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, you can go onto creativemarket.com and you can actually download your fonts that are your brand fonts, and you can keep track of the color codes that are your brand colors, and you can actually upload them into Canva and look for the colors and put in the code and actually save them as your brand default colors in Canva. So that's fantastic. So what I would recommend with your graphics that you're going to combine with your content that you've written is create templates, maybe 1 to 2 for each of the pillars that are kind of, you can rotate through each week. And the idea of this is that you have kind of a consistency along all of the graphic elements that you create that complement your content that you're putting out. Each time you maybe reference a quote and you create a graphic around the quote, you're going to have a similar graphic template for the quotes that you put out there. So that's why I recommend maybe one or two, so that it's not the same graphic template that you put out each time you do a quote. There might be a separate one, so maybe two would be a good number. Another element to consider is photography. I believe it's content. And as our own business, we should really ensure that our photography, including like our team photos, our employee photos, if it's just yourself, it should be you, are reflective of your brand. So find a photographer that you love that really speaks to you and has the look and feel that you're looking for with your brand. And I would recommend taking not just kind of one or two photos professionally done, but have them do like a brand shoot for you. So that means, maybe 2 to 3 different outfits for maybe an hour or 2 hours, and you get 5 to 10 or maybe 20 photos of you in different poses, maybe more formal poses, going down to more casual poses. So you have a variety of images of yourself that are professional that you can actually use as content in your marketing. So what you can do with these photos when you're done, as well as other photos that you have, you can upload them to Canva and use them in your templates. So let's say you have one of your templates is more personal and the story about you and more the kind of heart of your business, then you can actually use and upload one of your photos of you, and you can put your logo and maybe put a quote or have it be the central image in that visual. I'm now going to share with you one of my biggest secrets to making this the most simple process possible. Content creation can be quite overwhelming, especially if you have a major online presence and a lot of different avenues that you're using in terms of your marketing strategy. So I have created the most ultimate of all ultimate content calendars that exists. I promise you this will be the best content calendar you've ever seen. I'm going to leave a link below to go and download my content calendar, and I promise you it will make your life a lot easier. It includes a master calendar, so you can look at all of your marketing at a glance in terms of your month. You can look by week. You can actually organize your content pillars. You can paste in your copy per day and each of the platforms that you're going to be placing it on and which days you're going to be posting, as well as your visual assets that are combined with it. And there's all sorts of other tabs about inspiration. You can pull from your Pinterest and post inspirational pieces on that tab. There's all sorts of really helpful links as well to help you create the content and make it most easy for you. And another great tip too is if you upload this calendar to Google, maybe to a Google Drive, you can share it with your virtual assistant or your other employees that work on the content with you. And this can be the master file that you use to create and manage and plan out your content. So I hope that was really helpful for everyone. It might be a little bit overwhelming, but I assure you, if you follow these steps, it should be pretty easy for you to come up with inspired content and really repurpose. That's the whole idea, repurpose, reuse, and chop up information that you come up with so that you don't have to spend time creating all the time and feeling like you're overwhelmed by the process. So hopefully you enjoy this content calendar that I created too. Please let me know what you think about it. I'm really super proud of it, of course, and I use it all the time. It's made my life a trillion times easier. So next we're going to get into the planning and automating process, which is really the key to this mastering your marketing, because it's all about just setting and forgetting it and making it as easy as possible for you. So stay tuned for that and check out my website and let me know if you have any questions about anything we've reviewed so far and maybe how I can help you personally in your business and how you can master your marketing. And I'll look forward to chatting with you next. See you soon.